hell, we got this guy on the show. This like one championship ring away from the white party.
I'm acting funny now.
No, we're not acting funny.
I'm acting funny now.
We're just gonna do what the pivot does.
Yes, sir.
Fellas,
What up? There he is.
Yes, sir, man. Right. Yes, sir.
We will not roast you.
Hell no. Okay. Although I still feel those muscles in you right there.
I need to get on
Put
that
you in the
team
big- we
for
put you in the
12
big
diet.
foot.
My butt too big.
More what?
Boy, when I don't work out, I'm like, what happened? That's all right. But you can still get at it.
No, I still try to.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always loved it, thank God.
Right, yeah.
Working out, trying to stay in shape. So that's never been a problem. It's just I can't ever build anything.
So it's 40 better though than it was when we ran it.
I know.
That's
I
crazy.
know.
It ain't that much better.
Not much. But I haven't slowed down that much. I was never fast to start, so I was like, you look slow. I'm like, well, I've always looked slow. I was slow. How does that work, though? Like, how do you get faster? That's just credit to Alex.
Just me and Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, every day. He's out in Vegas now, but there's someone that I still work with, and this morning I was doing sprints.
Wow.
Just because I like it, you know what I mean?
Why? It doesn't make sense.
I don't know. I'm a psycho, bro. That's why. Duh.
Hold up, limitless, niggas to make I'm feeling it. I'm on the head of witness it. Get my people feeling it. When you feeling, get me up. All the bitches get me up. Know me, I got the key. All the bitches I can trust. Limitless, niggas to make I'm feeling it. I'm on the head of witness it. Get my people feeling it. When you feeling, get me up. All the bitches get me up. Know me, I got the key. All the bitches I can trust. Limitless, niggas to make I'm feeling it.
Well, brother, first off, man, thank you so much. Welcome to the pivot. Right, I'm gonna introduce you,
Okay,
even
go
though
for it.
I'm pretty sure the whole world knew you before the roast. Now even more people know you. But 7-time champion, 5-time Super Bowl MVP, 3-time league MVP. Just legitimately one of
Hey,
the
Judy.
best to ever touch a football.
Trev, what's happening?
We're honored to have you here. It's a big day for us.
Good.
Fanatics announcement.
Congratulations.
Man,
Amazing for you guys. You guys worked really hard.
And you got to start the big day with the best. And that's just exactly what we did. We partnered with Fanatics now, and Michael Rubin and all that he's doing. And they only do big things, whether it's Mitchell and Ness, whether it's Tops. We're talking about their collective sports betting. To be a part of this company as it grows and grow with them, being the first of many podcasts that are going to come under this umbrella, it's exciting. And this is the way to start.
Yeah, we're just trying to be legendary, man. Just like you.
Man, we had some big guests, fellas. We had Kevin Hart, we had The Rock, we had Shaq, we had some big shows, and now we got TV, man. I'm excited.
We have a gift for you. I know a while back you posted about Dwight Clark and about being at the 1981 NFC Championship. Kind of complaining a little bit, maybe like you may have did to a couple
To
of
my
refs.
mom and dad, I wasn't happy.
Yeah, so Fanatics and the Pivot wanted to give you. This is an actual seat.
No way.
From the
Are you
game,
serious?
bro. And it's signed by Dwight Clark before he passed, man.
Unbelievable.
Joe Montana. You know what I mean? So you looked out for us, bro. So
Thank you.
Michael Rubin and Fanatics family.
This is amazing.
Freddie
T. What a treat, man. It's unbelievable. At 16 or
Wow.
this is dope too.
Now, I wouldn't have called that play. I didn't like that play very much for me. But Joe could make it happen. So
That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
thank you guys.
Yeah, no doubt.
But why are you so amazed? You're Tom damn Brady. Do you understand who you are?
I think that I still see myself as that kid that loved football growing up and wanted to be, out there on that field. And I still can't believe a lot of things that have happened in my life. It's very different than probably how we all grew up. We always had dreams and hopes and ambitions, but it's like you put one foot in front of another, and then finally you look back and you're like, wow, how did that happen? Because, hey, you told me it would happen that way, or to be a champion like I've been, or to have all these crazy experiences. Believe me, I still pinch myself all the time. And sometimes you got to accept that, okay, my life's different. It's not the way that it was when I was 10 years old. And I think a lot of us still want to go back to that when we were young and we didn't have as much responsibility and life was so fun. And now we have all these big lives and big responsibilities, and sometimes it feels a little overwhelming for all of us. And believe me, I have that sense too. Sometimes I'm doing way too much. Sometimes I feel like I'm failing in this area, I'm failing in this area, and always just trying to recalibrate where my priorities are.
In 2017, you mentioned your father being your hero.
Yeah.
And what I love the most about sitting down with these people I admire is getting to know the human. And with all that you've accomplished, to be able to say that my hero doesn't wear pads or my hero didn't do this, to be able to say that you grew up in the same household with someone you admire in that way. For people who are trying to raise the next Tom Brady, not just on the field, but off the field, talk a little bit about what your parents sowed into you to help you be who you are.
Yeah, I just had 2 days with my mom and dad and my 3 sisters. First time I'd say it was just the 6 of us together in a long time without spouses or grandkids and things like that. And it was just, it felt like we were back in the house growing up. And we were just all sitting there as we always did as a family. And it was so fun and sweet, and we're so comfortable with one another. And I just look at my parents, and I'm so grateful for the foundation, that we all still want to be together and that we'd all still love each other. We're so invested in each other's lives and care about what's going on, not what everyone may see or think it might be, but really what's really going on in life. So my parents instilled like a family value in us, and I just remember, why my dad was my hero. I just always remember, I was never, as you guys know, the most athletic kid. I wasn't that way in high school. I wasn't that way in college. I wasn't that way in the pros. But I did have a determination, and I think he was a hardworking man, show up every day at home, and then when he'd get home in the afternoon after work, I was always there, and he'd be like, come on, let's go up to the baseball park. I'm going to hit you ground balls. And me, I was like a Labrador Retriever. Yeah, I could do that literally all night.
Right.
And there was never one day where he came home and was like, I'm too tired. My priorities as a kid, my parents made them their priorities. Whatever I was interested in, and I think the only advice I could give for parents, and so many amazing parents do this, is whatever's most important.
What's up, Sketchpad?
That's what you should be. That's your priority. And I feel like when you have the responsibility of your children, whatever they want to do, we got to empower them to go out there and be that, and then not discourage or one thing my parents also did, they never thought Mom, Dad, I want to go to college and play football. It was never like, really? That's going to be really hard. Let's go to, some smaller school where it might be easier for you. It was always like, whatever I wanted to do, they were there to support it. And I think it's all long odds for all of us to get to this point, to play in the NFL, for you guys to have the success you had. It wasn't because your parents were like, wow, you shouldn't do that. Now, sometimes maybe that is, but that wasn't my experience. My parents were like, go for it. And they were all in right behind me.
TB, it's mental health month.
Yeah.
And when we see Tom Brady, everyone sees Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I want to ask, how is Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr.? How is that kid? How's the kid from San Mateo?
Yeah, I'm always I would say I'm just doing my best to check in with myself as often as possible with my physical health, my mental health, my emotional health. It's something that I'm working on every year. I think I start something a little bit different. I think this last year I wanted to kind of rebuild my body because it got, I lost a lot of weight in my last season. It was challenging, and I really was like, all right, I'm really focused on rebuilding that. And I think this year is a lot of work stuff. I think next year I'm like, okay, I'm really going to settle into a better, more sustainable rhythm to life between, again, all our responsibilities. When's it too much? When's it not enough? And I think we're always like, man, I want to be, you're juggling all these balls in the air. Certainly for former athletes, we never know how it's going to go when we retire. It's always like, man, prepare for what's going to happen at the end of the journey. So it's like, all right, let me start figuring it out. And you don't know which balls are going to land. Yeah. And then finally one lands and you're like,
Rich.
Okay, that was a good one. I really wanted
Yes,
that.
sir.
And then sometimes one lands and you're like, okay, well, maybe I'll do it. I don't really find
What's
my
up,
favorite
Nick?
thing, but I'll do it. And then something else comes in. Like, I'd rather be doing this. And I think I've been so fortunate to have different opportunities, but I didn't know what any of those would be. So it's like I'm taking this broadcasting job, and I'm really excited about that. It's really a good challenge. It's a way to still obviously love what we've loved for so long, but also express exactly what you guys are doing here, different parts of you to express through your words and not through this physical part. We made our living being physical beings. Yeah, behind the scenes, we were communicative. We were teammates. It was very mental. It was very emotional. But now we have to actually use our voice. That's a different skill set. And, it wasn't nonverbal communication. It's very verbal communication. So something like being a broadcaster on Fox, I'm really looking forward to that. Among, some other cool things that I've been really fortunate to be able to be a part of.
When we played against each other,
Yeah.
and you wore my ass out a couple times, but
And you did mine too, so.
I got a picture on my wall of me and Jason Taylor high-lowing you, which would have been a penalty right now, but back then it was good. I got it on the wall right in my playroom. But were you, like, we used to joke about you being plugged in at night. Because you never, like, you said exactly what everybody's going to say. You were always in shape. You played every game.
Yeah.
But now, it's off the field, Tom Brady. Are we ever worried about, like, showing your true personality? Because I saw it kind of in Tampa. We had Byron Leftwich down there, and we started seeing more of,
Yeah.
Tom Brady, and then we started seeing more, and they call you TB. He just said it, y'all were teammates. And seeing that, what was the transition of being that kid coming from Michigan and getting in the league and trying to be successful, and then being successful, and then really showing the world who you were? And I think in the roast, that's when I pointed, what's the Leonardo DiCaprio meme?
Yeah.
And you went to snap, and I was like, I wanted this guy. I want to talk to this guy. Was it any I won't say fear, but was there any trepidation in showing the world who you really are?
I think I've always shown the world parts of me, and I think there's other parts which I didn't really feel like was the right place to express it to. Because even when I went to Michigan, it was a very team-focused program. It was like all about the team. Bo Schembler, like you say, the team. Then I go from that program for 5 years right to the Patriots. And Coach Belichick was the team. And that was 28 years where it really wasn't my voice. It was the team's voice. And I felt like, as the leader of the team, well, this is how we should do it. And in a lot of ways, I like that because it does.
Hold on, Cousin Judy. I'm going to call you when I get off.
Doing our best to keep the distractions at a minimum. When you have different factions within a team, I never, what positive or negative, I don't ever think like that's the clearest path to success. The team it's very challenging to go beat the Steelers, to beat the Dolphins. Not Jacksonville, isn't it? I'm just kidding. You know I love you.
I know, but you sound like these guys, and we were teammates.
I love it. Believe me, I love playing with you every single time.
That's
Freddie, he just came from a roast.
and he's still hot. He's still on fire. But no, I guess let me just say this real quick then. 2017 AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
And the Jags fans probably love this. I'll take opportunity. Miles Jack, was he down?
Oh,
The knee?
oh no, I don't think he was down. Oh God, I don't think we were catching him either. I sure as hell wasn't going to tackle him.
Hey, Jaguars Nation, there you go.
I know.
From the
I
man.
know.
It's not your fault. It's the ref's fault.
I know. They're trying to get it right, but
We're letting the world see who you really are.
Yeah.
Like, it was wild to me.
for all of us, it's just finding your voice again. Like, again, who's the young kid in all of us that really just wants to be one of the guys? Like, when we're growing up, we just want to fit in. We want to be a part of a group, you know. And we did, and I did that, and I still am. I'm still part of different groups at different times. Certainly, I think the group that I'm most want to be a part of is my kids. You know, like it's us, and I think in general our family. So, you know, a lot of it is just, what am I responsible for? What are my responsibilities? And really, what are my values? And do my priorities and do my actions reflect really what my priorities and what my values are? So, professional part of my life, very important. My personal part of my life with my children, very important. I don't want to let too many things get in the way of that. So I'd say now, going forward, I feel like because some of those balls have landed, I can be more selective with my time to make sure that, talk about mental health, Freddie T, like, okay, this is really, I feel like I'm overwhelmed. I feel like I'm tired, I'm irritable, you know, not sleeping. There's a lot of ways that it takes different tolls on us. So how can we always just check in with ourselves to make sure that we're living a life that we want to live, and we could be a good example for the kids, but also for the next generation of people who want to be sitting in these chairs. How do we help other people get to what their dreams and goals are in life? And what are all the things that I've learned in my life and the people that I've been around, very fortunately, that have instilled in me things that I can pass on that other people can value too.
You mentioned checking in on yourself. Let's go to Patriots 1, right? Patriots 1.0.
Yeah.
Because it was like different phases of who you guys were. You retooled teams, won championships with different teams, broke records with different teams. You said publicly before, after the back-to-backs, you were sort of relieved. You said the first time, I think it was 03,
Yeah.
you were excited. You were ready to go do it again.
Yeah.
And then you win it in 04, and it was almost a relief that, okay, we did it, we won it, but you had to reset. Because people think that when you're succeeding and you're getting deep in the playoffs, they don't talk about the toll it takes on you mentally, emotionally, and physically, even when you win it.
Sure.
What was the mindset behind trying to reset after such a hot start to your career?
Yeah, and I think the point is, and earlier we talked about like what my parents provided, which was a foundation that win or lose, I can find my way through my life, in the best possible way. But that gave me the best opportunity to succeed. Sometimes success is just as challenging as failure. Failure is challenging because you don't get what you want, and sometimes that kind of chips away at our self-esteem and our self-confidence. You may have self-confidence in some areas when you win, or let's say you win a championship, but now comes all this other stuff. You get invited to this place, you get invited here. Oh my God, I don't want to turn it on. Now people know that you have money or you have contributions. Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? Now you feel like you have a responsibility because people asked. And then now, so much, I think the early part of my career was trying to fulfill other people's new expectations of me, and me still being the 14-year-old boy that wanted to fit in. And I was like, I just want to go to the field and like play. And now there was all these other things to choose from. Some were actually really fun to be a part of. Go to the ESPYs the first time. Get invited to the White House. You get invited to different parties, and you're like, man, I should try that out because everyone seems like it would be a lot of fun. Next thing you know, you're overwhelmed because you didn't sleep, you didn't eat right, you're partying, and I'm like, God, I don't really like the way I'm feeling. How do I get back to the way that I want to be so that I can feel the way that I want to feel? So I think we're all challenged with that all the time. I don't think you're out of the woods in your teenage years or in your mid-20s, your mid-30s. Like every year we go by, this is my first year as a 46-year-old man in May. This isn't my 5th time through it. I don't always know how to act. I don't always have the right answers for every place that I'm in or the right behavior. So a lot of times something happens, you're like, man, I really like that, but there was these things that I would probably change, that I would do differently. So I'm always trying to reflect back. What would I have done a little differently had I did it all over again? And that to me is like being your own self-critic. That's the person you look at in the mirror every day and go, did I live up to my own expectations? Or where am I falling short? And then why am I falling short of my own expectations? So a lot of it is, for ourselves, as long as, I think last year I put this big poster up in my bathroom. It's the man in the glass. It's really, that's the person at the end of the day that you're most accountable to.
Fellas, we've had a couple of big-time number 20s on this show. We had B-Dog, we had Ed Reed, and everybody's going to go to a guy like Barry Sanders when we talk about the number 20. Speaking of that, Fanatics Sportsbook just went live in New Jersey, and now that's 20 states for the Fanatics Sportsbook. And to commemorate that, they're going to give away $5 million in customer bonuses, and they have some special offers throughout the NBA playoffs.
What I love the most about it is you got 20 days to do this. You got 20 days to get a part of the $5 million in bonuses. All you got to do is download the app. It's simple. Download the app.
And the NBA, they got some specials. I know you talking about football dudes. I got to throw my boy Ray Allen in there. I got to throw my boy hitting from behind the arc in there, Ray Allen. That's my 20. But Fanatics Sportsbook app, you got to go get it. 20 states, 95% of the market. Y'all got to go download that.
Also, they got $5 million in customer bonuses that includes 2 surge days on the biggest sporting events. Remember, grab your mobile devices and download the Fanatics Sportsbook app. It's now live in 20 states. $5 million in customer bonuses, 2 surge days on the biggest sporting events. And for you NBA fans, we got something special coming for you.
Adobe Acrobat AI Assistant helps me build trust with clients. With AI Assistant, I can find contract details quickly. Having all of this together helps position myself as an expert, and it gives me that confidence to talk to clients.
I got to ask him, Tom, you jumped on me. You said partying. I didn't think your ass partied. I thought TB12. I heard stories that you haven't eaten a strawberry in 22 years. I know you've heard the stories. You know what I'm saying? I know you heard those stories. The TB12, the extremes of it, and those stories of how you really treated your body.
Yeah.
Are they extreme stories, or did you really lock into that shit? Because you can kiss my ass, bro. I'm eating me a chicken wing. I'm gonna drink a beer.
I would too.
You okay? You would?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think so much of that got blown out of proportion. Because like every
Same world.
Yeah.
And a quote stood out. I think you said, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Yeah.
How do you apply that in retirement, in your life right now in that transition? How do you apply that quote?
I think now that I've been kind of removed from football for, I don't know, a year and a half, it's quite a bit different than the life of being an athlete and the regimen and the things I'd be thinking about. Sometimes I feel like I'm a little bit in a washing machine right now. Not quite sure where you're going, what the schedule looks like. You know, the
Creature of habit.
Yeah,
Structure.
And that's good. The structure, the habits, all those are really, I would say, positive for all of us at different times, certainly. When you don't have that, you bounce around, you're like a ping pong ball too. So for me, it's like, again, now I think we have to be our own teacher in a way. Like, the teacher will appear when you recognize within yourself, hey, I really don't like the way that this is. I don't like the way that this is going. You know, and I think I recognize some of those things. Like, okay, that wasn't my best self. I didn't show up really who I was in that moment, or who I want to be, or would my dad be proud of that? Would my mom be proud of that? Or my kids going to be proud of that? And I wouldn't say I make all the right decisions all the time either. You know, so there's plenty of things I mess up. There's plenty of mistakes that I make that I go, okay, I tried it. Actually, stupid decision. Why don't I change that? And then you try to go forward that way. And again, none of us are. Success is never linear. We do go too far to the right. Go too far to the left. Okay, back too far to the right. And you bounce around. It feels good when you're in the middle. I wish we could all stay there all the time. But I think the challenge of life is that there's a lot of circumstances that happen in our life that challenge us who we really are, where our center is. I would say I'm really not in my center right now. I'm really not. I'm sometimes on the fringe going, what the hell? I never thought anything like that.
Right.
You know, and like, how can I get back to where I can be centered, come from a good place where I'm making a really great decision? And it's nice to have, I think the real great positive thing for me in my life, I have a lot of people that I feel like tell me the truth and can be really honest with me when I do fuck up. And they're like, no, man, you're fucked up. Like, you got to change that. Okay, I listen to that. So I think we should all be receptive to the people in our life, that we value their response. Not every person who's going to hate on you about something. But if you really value those people in your life, and you value the people that do have a thing to say that you agree with, and it's a meaningful observation or critique, like, I think we do need to embrace those. I had an hour and 30-minute conversation this morning with one of my friends that I was like, opened my eyes to a lot of things, and I needed to hear that.
We had JJ Redick on the show, and we asked him about pivots, and he spoke about life being linear, but operating in the gray, learning to accept that, and then ultimately what you said at the beginning of that, being able to face that man in the mirror, and have those tough conversations, and I think that's kind of what I had to do when I retired, because that routine wasn't always there. Again, people will pull you left and right, all sorts of stuff. But I had to find a way back to the middle and find something that I fell in love with, which is this. Like, I love doing this, and I'm loving this opportunity to sit down and chop it up with you.
Yeah, same here. I feel like I've always had this, think about it naturally as a quarterback, probably a lot like a safety too. Like, I was in control. I wanted to make sure we were in the right formation, and we were running the right play. We were lined up. We were going on my cadence. I was going to throw the ball where I wanted to. I had so many things that were in my control. I loved flying the plane, being the operator. I think what you realize in life is you're not in control that much. Mm-hmm. And like, what do I need to do more in my life? I need to be better with less control. And I got to be better operating in that gray area. I can't be so anxious when things aren't going exactly the way that I want. I don't sleep. I don't eat. I don't work out. I get angry when I'm not in complete control. And like, think about it, all this hardwired for all these years. Like, coach, I want to run these plays. When I was a senior in college, I went in before the Ohio State game, and I was like, must have been 6:30 a.m. on this Thursday before the game. And I walk into the coaching office during a staff meeting, and I'm like, coach, I want this. These are the plays I want to run. I like this. And he's like, go to bed. You know, and I look at myself back then, and I was like, what was going on with me? Like, you know, it was so much of like, I wanted it to go so well that I felt like if I tried to control everything, then it would go well. But the reality is that's not life. You know, what goes well is really what's inside you. I need work on that. So I had so many years of like, and think about it, you do have some control. And look, there's the success you have. So now I fall back and I look and I okay, the more I can control, the more I can succeed. But am I really succeeding if other parts of my life, if I'm so worked up and so out of balance? So I think a lot of these things I'm trying to check in with like myself. And as I go forward in life, I'm not going to have that total control because it's not really there anyway. You know, you're not really in control. You are in control of what's inside you. And that's what I'm certainly trying to get better at.
With that mentality, can you enjoy success? Because you just said something like when you have success, now it's okay, that's what it takes.
Yeah.
You just kind of do more of that. Did you enjoy all the damn success you had?
Absolutely. I never took any of the, I wouldn't say I took the success for granted. Maybe I took some of the wins for granted, like in the playing career. The reason why I fell in love with football was what you gave me earlier in the show. Like, it was never to be a champion. I love just throwing the football. I still, when I throw the football and I see that ball spiral out of my hands, I'm like, woo, love that. Love that. I'll do it. You guys want to go to the beach? Let's throw the football. I'll have a hell of a time. We would run. We would laugh. We could probably play for 3 hours out there. I would love it like I loved it. And in fact, when I got older, I actually liked the practices more than the games. Because I felt like I had such high expectation in the game. Like, if I went out and threw 2 interceptions, Tom Brady threw 2 interceptions. You're supposed to be perfect out there. You can't fuck up in the game. But in practice, no one was watching, man, okay, I could have a little more fun. I could be a little more lighter. It's even when I look at myself later in my career, I had this face, it was a scowl all the time. And it was me just being super self-critical. Because I felt like I had this expectation for myself that if I didn't go for 303 touchdowns, then I let myself down and I let the team down. So practices actually were enjoyable. Games were like fun, absolutely fun, because the energy and excitement was there. But then at the end, it was like it could only really go one way. You know, we won, we expected us to win. When we lost, it was a huge upset. Probably tough. And I'd rather have that than...
Hey, Mom, sorry for the late message. We were working on a Black Hawk all afternoon. It was awesome. Oh, you called it. I'm going surfing on Sunday. I can't wait. I'll tell you all about it later. I love you.
Learn how you can be all you can be at GoArmy.com.
Try to be surprised that you actually won a game. But what I would have changed was, okay, this part of me that I actually still love, like when I see these young players, I see like Patrick, out there, quarterback, running around, laughing, having fun. I'm like, I used to be like that. What the hell happened to me? And I just got too serious. And but again, I can only look back and think, okay, if I do it again, which I'll never do it again, I would be different. But the reality is you can't. So you just learn from it and go, okay, now next phase of life, enjoy it a little more.
It's always great to see these great players and these leaders be talked about by their friends. And I always say it too, like, all my friends weren't my teammates, all my teammates weren't my friends. You're in the locker room with people who have one goal. But I remember watching The Last Dance with Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And people talking about who he was at practice, the way he challenged people. The Edgers, you mentioned them on Man in the Arena, the Vrabels, the Brewskis. They talked about, like, giving it to you at practice.
Yeah.
How much fun was that to be on a team with great players that had great success, but also great competitors, and go back and forth with those dudes to sharpen your sword?
I loved it. I loved it. I loved all those guys that I played with that challenged me every single day. Rodney Harrison, oh my God, talking shit to me. Ty Law intercepted me, wagging the ball in my face. That was the drive. I love the competition. I love the practice. And then on game days, we could never taunt in the game, or, that wasn't the right thing to do against. I would never taunt you if I didn't know you. Right. Now, I taunt you if I did know you.
Right.
I'd be talking shit in practice.
Right.
Because it was fun, because those are your guys, And I always felt like when I was really comfortable with people, I love when people mess with me. It's like my favorite thing in the world, because I know they're comfortable with me. And when they're comfortable with me, now I know I can let my guard down. Okay, now I can have fun with you. I don't want to have to come here and be like, oh my God, it's so great to see you. Oh my God, it's amazing. I want you guys to fuck with me, so that now I'm like, all right, now we're good. Right. Like, we're good. We can have fun and laugh and joke. And I think that's like what I always had with my teammates. There was nothing better than the locker room. But really, the reflection of the locker room was really just, you got to be that kid again. You got to be yourself without judgment. and people would bullshit and say things that weren't true and exaggerate things, and everyone laughed. The only thing you were trying to do with your friends was crack a smile. You would say stuff in the locker room just to get laughs, just to get jokes, and there was such a freedom and comfort that inside those walls, we were totally protected and insulated. It was like I had my son he goes to camp in the summer, and when I drop him off, I'm like, oh my God, is he gonna make it? And like 3 weeks later, he comes back. He's at the time of his life.
Right.
Why? Because he just got to be a boy.
Yep.
And like that's all we always wanted in the locker room. We just want to be a boy. We want to be like everybody else.
I'm gonna have to make a confession, bro. So I didn't truly get to meet you until my last year when I was in Washington, and we met at training camp.
Yeah.
And then we talked before the preseason game. Neither one of us played, so we talked for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
From the locker room, and I know I shouldn't have been using my phone, but I was like, I'm not gonna play in the preseason. I called Troy. I said, bro, I feel like a traitor. And he was like, what's up? I was like, I really freaking like Tom Brady. I was like, he's freaking awesome. And
I had to do that, and